Good morning. It's time to meet your host for today. Ever since she was a child, this award-winning VO icon has been both seen and heard in countless TV shows and commercials. She's a real Pearl, the voice of Pearl Krabs on SpongeBob. Please give it up for the luminescent Lori Allen.
Good morning! She should do voiceovers. I don't really think that, hi Tom, what an amazing award last week. Good morning. I just want to say congratulations for showing up for yourself. This is a big deal, right? It's a big deal to put time and energy into your career. So yay you. That's I think it's a big bold step to show up for yourself. So you're amazing. I know you guys are ready to learn so much your head is going to be exploding but with all good things. Don't worry, it's not going to explode with your brains or anything like that. Okay, so let's just start with some quick improv. I'm going to need a suggestion for a place, a setting. Did I hear? I heard workshop. That's fantastic. Okay, and now I'm just going to need something for genre. Oh, great! I heard motion capture. That's great. And did I hear make it interactive? I did. Damn, I'm good. Okay. And I heard hosted by Keith and Valerie Arem. Yes, I did. Oh my gosh, PCB Productions. So let's give them a big round of applause. You're going to learn so much.
Good morning. Hey everybody.
Hello. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Wow.
Those are some lights.
Well, good morning. Thank you guys for joining us. We have kind of just a 1 hour presentation that's going to cover a lot. So if we move a little too fast, apologies, but we're going to kind of focus on one aspect of motion capture, part of a performance.
It's hard to get people up here.
We can't really transform all this into a mocap set, but we're also going to follow up. If anyone was here last year, did anyone see our presentation last year about what we were talking about for vocab? So we're going to kind of show off a little of that process today and actually have some of you guys from the audience actually get involved and kind of show you a little of that. So let's move into our presentation and see if we can get it started. Can we put up the, there we go, cool. So, by the way, we kind of, people have been asking us for years, what does PCB mean? And the real story is a much longer story, but we've rebranded now, so we're the Performance Capture Bureau, so there you go. But for PCB, we're very involved in all aspects of the creative side, of the production side, behind and in front of the microphones, both on the contracts, on the technology, the pipelines, and working with the talent. And so our mission statement is to really make it a win-win for everybody. It's not just for the companies that we're working for, but it's really for the actors that are performing, because if the actors are delivering amazing performances, it pays pays off in these amazing projects. So we want you guys to be comfortable not being shackled by these high-end technologies that can really affect a performance. So the focus of what we're doing with all these performance techniques are really to kind of show that off and really make you guys feel very comfortable when you're working in these very technological kind of areas. So for those of you who don't know who we are, PCB's been around. This is our 24th year, 21 years.
We're going on our 25th year.
Yeah, and 30 years, very but I started originally in the music industry and then very quickly got into video games. I was the audio director for Virgin Interactive and then Electronic Arts. And a lot of the production pipelines you see in the video game industry, specifically for performances, for voiceover and recording and early motion capture, and especially digital recording, was stuff that we created at Virgin. I was the audio director there for almost 6 to 7 years, and because we were one of the largest distributors of games and we were doing all the early development of work, companies like Electronic Arts and Virgin and GT, some of these companies, we had the budgets and the technology and the projects to work on, so we were working on these early pipelines. So Valerie, when we first got married, Valerie was starting in acting, and we did the very first in-game cinematic.
Very first time, the first
voiceover in-game cinematic, which is
trivia.
Lost in the ages of games, because games
doesn't exist anymore, but that's okay.
Yeah. But over the past 25 years, we've used that kind of backbone to then launch into PCB productions and create a really great environment for the actors and the talent and for our company to thrive. So I'll let Val introduce you a little bit about herself as well.
Hello, I'm Valerie, and I actually started in the industry as a voice actor. I think I did my first voiceover when I was 11 years old. I was 6 foot tall in junior high school. Amazingly unawkward, really. And my mom put me in modeling because she didn't want me to be awkward with my height. And I walked into my modeling agency, and the lady said to me, she goes, "You have a good voice, get over here." And so I walked in this room with her. We literally pushed record on a cassette tape. Yeah, dating myself. And I recorded this audition for how to ride the city bus. We're the cool kids, we ride the city bus. And it was on a film strip, also dating myself. Booked that and never sort of looked back. I was like, this is a job. Oh my gosh. So I was doing voiceover for a long time, and then got the opportunity with our company, with PCB Productions, to start directing some of the Jumpstart Learning, Knowledge Adventure, find a letter that sounds like. And took it off of Keith's plate because in the daytime he was directing Call of Duty RPG, and in the evenings he was directing RPG. And I thought he was going to lose his mind. So I took over that and have been directing ever since. And I get to do both sides of the glass, which I adore.
And so we're also going to introduce a couple of members of our staff. They should be back here. You guys want to come up on stage as well? They're going to be helping us today. Jaynie Sargalis, who's our production director.
We could not function without these people, for sure.
And so we've had an amazing experience working with these lovely individuals, putting them and our actors through crazy experiments of trying to say, let's try this and see if it works. But it has worked. So a lot of the technologies that we're going to be showing you guys and kind of give you an overview really work because we're looking at how performances evolve throughout games, and as games are changing and getting much larger, that we need different ways to sort of bring these performances to life. And so what we have done, instead of traditional motion capture, if anyone has seen how motion capture and behind the scenes where everyone's wearing these like crazy suits with reflective markers on them, these big stages, it's really fancy, it's really cool, it takes forever, it's very expensive, and it's kind of going away. Although people want to get into it, and everyone's like, I want to do that, and every actor who's ever done it loves it, because it's like theater in the round. You're performing, you're working with other actors, you're not just acting in a voiceover capacity, you're normally just by yourself. In a mocap suit, you're usually working with other actors, and you can actually do a scene, and we feel that a lot of performing is not just acting, but it's reacting. And so the reason why people love the sound of motion capture, not just the physicality of it, but they're hearing those actors perform off of each other. The problem is there's so many technological problems with that, and people will say, it's okay, we'll fix it in the mix. If anybody says fix it in the mix, we will strangle them, because that means it's pushing
It's a problem. We'll let someone else deal with that.
Exactly. It doesn't go away. It's just that they don't see in post-production the nightmare that it takes and costs. And so if you know you're going to fix something in the mix, why not try to fix it early and not have to do
Before it
that?
gets to the mix.
And only fix it in the mix if you have to, not knowing it's a problem. So our process of what we call vocap is designed to sort of identify all the different parts of a performance and get the best from the technology and from the actors to deliver these performances. So it's really Frankensteining all these different elements. And what that is, it's the voice, it's the body, and it's the face. And what we're going to show you a little bit today is the face, because this wouldn't be the right environment to show you the mocap. But also, we also feel that like the voice is going to originate the performance. That's how Pixar and Disney and other animators have always felt for years, is that the performance is going to originate in the voice.
Yeah, our friends who are Disney animators always say to us when we do casting, we're listening for a voice that makes us want to animate. So really good insight and tip there if you're auditioning for something animated.
And the reason why is that, and you guys all know if you guys have experience doing voiceover, is that to emote a certain physicality on a microphone is very difficult to do, but that doesn't necessarily dictate the performance. There can be a physicality to that, but if it's a stunt, you're not expected to do that stunt. Even celebrities, when they're doing their performance, they have a stunt actor. They're always going to be Frankensteining some type of performance. But when we're talking about video games with these digital characters that are having to go through hyper-reality of all sorts of crazy action and jumps and other things, no voice actor is going to be doing that anyway, but the performance is going to originate in voice. So our first part of that process is either doing in the booth or a cast recording. And by bringing the actors together, we've worked with Jim Cameron's team, who's worked on all the Avatar films. They came from the guys from Giant, who did a lot of motion capture, and we worked with them when we created sort of these custom headsets where we bring the actors together in a sound-treated stage, not like the big mocap stages, which are very noisy and not very conducive to sounding like booth recordings. And we take the actors here, and whether it's stationary mics or the head mics, we work together, but now you get actors acting and reacting to each other. So you get the sound of mocap, but we focus on voice. And we don't have to worry about having 80 people on set and all the markers and all the cameras in these really expensive areas where we're going to be doing stunts and other things later. So that's the vocap process, the combination of moving around but having voiceover. And part of the classes that we teach a series called Are You Game, if you're familiar with that. And our last class, the most popular class, is doing a vocap class and having all the actors
Because you get to be as voiceover people, we rarely get to be in a room with other people and working with them. I've had actors work on the same series for 10 years and then finally meet each other in the lobby. Like, wait, what? You're the lead? Yeah, I'm the female lead. Oh my God. It's crazy.
But the nice part is once we get all of that cast recording together, we now know the pacing of the scene. We can start creating animatics. We can start pacing out how the game is going to progress. And this works for animation, for other industries as well. But just because we focus on games, this technique has worked amazingly well. The performances are so grounded because now you get not just that reaction, but you get overlap, and you get breathing, you get motion. If you're yelling over your shoulder at someone, that's a different type of performance, and you can't do that on mic. If you're lifting something, you can actually lift something as opposed to act on microphone like you are, and it's amazing to hear the difference of this. Once we have that performance together, we'll bring our Pro Tools systems together and we'll play that back on a mocap set. And so now, without having to worry about miking the actors and getting Velcro and head movement and
memorizing your lines. Yeah.
And what's that?
No, we have got screens around the room.
On a normal motion picture, you're shooting maybe 2 to 3 pages a day, right? And you're doing a line or a small scene at a time. In a mocap set, because you have a large volume with hundreds of cameras, we can't stitch together the performance. So we can't just do one line of dialogue. We have to do the entire scene. So that might be 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes at a time with 4, 5, 6, 8 actors at a time. If one actor misses, they drop a line,
coughs, chokes, anything,
misses a step, an eye line, a facial expression, anything, if they're recording full performance capture, we have to do the entire scene over. Because we can't just stitch in, because if we change cameras, it won't stitch together.
Right.
So, what we do, and the problem is, and those stages don't sound like the booth sounds. And we can use the same microphones and everything else. So what we do with this technique is we already have all the dialogue recorded beautifully in the studio with everyone recording together. And now I can bring in not just actors who are going to do the physicality, but I can do stunts, I can do motion, I can do overlap. All they have to do is worry about
the puzzle, right?
Right. And so now we can block all those scenes, do all that performance together as a group, and rehearse that without worrying about memorizing lines. Because on a mocap set, a lot of times we're doing 12, 13, 15 pages of dialogue a day. And sometimes that dialogue is coming in that day. No time to rehearse and memorize. So it's impossible for actors to really thrive in that environment. Plus acting, plus doing stunts, plus doing all those other things. It's just not fair to the actors. And so you'll hear in the current SAG negotiations and other things talking about motion capture and stunts and other things. But the reality is we're all trying to get away from that because that technology is changing. It's very expensive. It's not conducive to really good acting. It's great and actors love it, but it really isn't conducive to a sustainable way. And every time you see a behind the scenes making of, a lot of that's staged because we don't really. It is. And it's just, it looks great for the cameras.
Just showing you the best moments.
But it doesn't do service because people think that's actually how we operate. And they're like, yeah, we'll fix it in the mix. So, let's talk about what we're going to do today. So the last part of this puzzle, we've got the dialogue and we've got the motion, right? Well, we have this dialogue, but the actors on set were just miming it. They weren't recording any dialogue. But we now need the face. Now the reason why this is important is that think about Netflix. Think about all the international shows that are coming in. Think about dubbing, right? An industry that is probably technically the hardest part of technical acting we have. Not just in video games, but anime and doing live action dubs, and it pays the worst. It's just this weird problem, right? And there's always a disconnect. It doesn't look right. The mouths don't match. As much as you write in scripts and try to make it, like, yeah, the timing looks pretty good, and they're doing it. Actors who learn how to do it, it's a phenomenal technique. And it's the first thing I recommend everyone tries to learn, and it's the first thing I want to eliminate in our industry because it really is doing a disservice to the actors.
It's really, as an actor, it's really shackling you to someone else's performance or someone else's timing, and it's a problem. It's not
right, because if an actor did
the best performances.
Exactly, if an actor set down the guide track, and this happens in motion capture as well, if we have a stunt actor laying down the motion and the voice, and then I bring in another actor who's a voice actor, a trained voice actor, to do that. They are now stuck with the timing and mouth movements and everything from the other actor. It's not fair to either actor. And the example I'll always give is that if you took someone like Christopher Walken, who has a very unique speech pattern,
and let him lay down the motion of the
guide track, and then you brought in William Shatner to dub him. It's not going to work, right? That's what we're doing in ADR. That's the problem with ADR. So face cap is kind of a solution to this. And the reason why is what we do is we have the dialogue recorded. So now, instead of having to record it on the mocap set, which means I have to have cameras and having all the mobility and everything that's there, I can fix this in the mix. I can fix this in post. But I can do it perfectly because when I'm doing dialogue recording, I'm Frankensteining dialogue all the time. I'm taking the beginning of take A, the ending of take B. I'm going to milk this out. I might time compress this because I have an animation limitation. I do all this other stuff. But if I had recorded that with video, the reference video combination of A and take B and C, the face would be going, it would be all over. It would be unusable. So what we do is we get the Frankenstein dialogue to sound perfect.
And that hero take.
Right.
We know it's as clean as we want it to be, take the breaths out, space it how we want it spaced, and get it absolutely perfect.
then we get the motion right, and now we know the timing of the scene. The dialogue has said it, and the motion capture is now following that. Now we bring in a facial ADR actor. So, but the funny thing is, the voice is already recorded, so the actor who's now coming in, who might be a great voice actor themselves, who's really good at timing and ADR, but now all we're going to be doing is grabbing their facial animation for the cameras to that Frankenstein performance. So it's basically a three-step process, right? The voice, the motion, and now the face. So let's show you some of this. So, and this works for a lot of different reasons. This works for live action dubbing, this works for video games, this works for a lot of different things. And as AI starts to be coming in and adding as a tool to help people blend this kind of stuff, we still need that reference, we still need the creative of the actors. AI is not designed to replace people, it's designed as a tool to help us improve our performances. There's always going to be a need for practice. And what can be done by a human needs to be done by a human. What can be done by a tool can be done by a tool, but it only has to assist, it cannot replace. And so all the talk and the fear about AI replacing us, it's not going to happen. There will be cases where that will...
We'll have our Lady in the Tramp 3 moment where everything's like... And then everyone will get sick of it and be like, no more, we want real actors. Because that was going to go down.
So what we've done at PCB is we've actually created an entire pipeline to not only do our voiceover performances, go to stages when we do motion capture, but now our Studio B, and what Jaynie has been directing and Sai's been engineering with us as well, is doing this where we already have the performances exactly the way we like them, bring in a team of trained voiceover and ADR specialists, and we'll play the dialogue for them for other actors, multiple actors, and have them do that ADR, but they're not using their voice, we're just recording those facial gestures. So, and this works, it has some limitations to some extent, obviously, because we are doing it in post, so it requires very specialized actors. We do teach a very high-end class in this, and it's surprisingly easy to do. We're going to show you guys how to do it, but difficult to master. So this is something that you can practice at home. If you know that there was an app called Dub Smash, you can take a movie quote and then you can lip sync it and make it look like you were saying a movie. That's what we're doing. We're doing high-end.
Dub Smash.
Okay. But we are using this for other industries and other things that's there. And so, but this really does elevate the performances because now we're just focused on the face now. We're not worrying about, oh, the motion was wrong, oh, they got that part line, that wrong, the eyes are wrong, all this other stuff. We're just focused on the face. So it really does elevate the performances that's there. It does change the way ADR is doing, and it doesn't shackle us to those weird hitches and crazy things that we see in dubbing. And it is much faster than dubbing, and a much better experience for the actors that's there. It is a little bit slower, and you have to be careful as an actor not to steal the music of a performance and introduce that. It happens in ADR a lot. This eliminates some of that, but it is something that you have to learn to really develop your ear as a facial ADR actor. So let's introduce Cherami.
So you probably know this person because they are a very prolific voice actor, known for such things as Borderlands and Cyberpunk, and my personal favorite, Persona 5. We have Cherami Leigh with us here today to talk about.
So we're going to go ahead and set her up with one of our facial cam helmets. We use two different styles. The one you're seeing here is with our friends from Faceware. And what's amazing about the Faceware technology is you can see in the other shot of Cherami, she had all the facial markers that's there. What's different about the Faceware technology is that their technology generates a mesh of the face, and they also have some AI technology that's there, and they don't require all the markers because it will actually drive all the animation. We take this video capture with that mesh, give that to an animation team, and that drives all the facial animation. So we're doing a big game that's about to be announced for January, and Cherami was one of our lead actors in that. We spent a good part of the year, and Jaynie, who's setting her up right now, was directing most of this.
They spent a lot of time like this, these two.
So it's not the most flattering image. No offense, Cherami. It's just.
Love you, but.
But if you notice, as she's moving around, her face is perfectly still and centered. You can see if Cherami, if you look around the background, it's going all over the place, but she's not shaking. And the reason why is as she's emoting, we're going to be just focused to make sure that her eye stays in the right place so those animators don't have to be moving around all her reference. So the way this process works is we can do this on small lines, medium lines, long lines. The smaller the better because it's hard to memorize.
Cherami nods.
But we have thrown in some doozies for her, and we're going to have some volunteers come up and also see how it is for someone who's not experienced with it to see how quickly you can learn how to do it. So the way this works is we're going to, Sai is going to play a reference file. This is a line from the game, and it'll be a short phrase. And we can put in some beeps, just like you hear in ADR. We've tweaked them a little bit because traditional ADR has, if you've ever heard the 3 beeps, it's like beep, 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 in. So I created that back in,
Long time ago.
I created that for Pro Tools years ago. Every studio has that sample now. I was doing it because Pro Tools didn't have a way to do traditional ADR. There were old film machines that had a tone system.
Back when Pro Tools was what, Sound Tools?
It
Called
was
back then?
Sound Tools.
Yeah.
And so, but before that, those film machines had this. So I created a sample, and most people know our beeps now in traditional ADR. The problem is that where the 4th beep normally would be, we keep it silent so you don't step on the dialogue. That beep doesn't step on the dialogue when the actor starts, because sometimes the actors will jump the beeps or do something, and then the beep gets into the recording. Well, we're not recording any dialogue here. So the problem that we found was when we were starting this process was a lot of actors didn't know where that 4th beep really was because they were used to kind of ADR, and they may have jumped the beeps and they were cheating or late. And it still looks great for sync, but it wasn't perfect for animation. So what we did is we introduced a 4th beep. So instead of a 3 cue, it's a 4 cue. But then we started to find that the actors were getting a little bit thrown off by that 4th cue because they're like 1, 2, 3, oh no 4, no 3, and then we would sort of have jump starts there. So what you're going to hear is a series of beeps where the 4th beep is actually just pitched a little lower, and it's beep, 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 boop. And that boop means that's the first frame of animation. So once we hear that, the cameras are live, everything's recording, and we deliver that there. So it helps us, it helps the actor to know that, and it kind of helps prevent those false starts. So when you're hearing that, those beeps are guiding the actor knowing when to come in. The engineer is going to basically play the lines for the actor to rehearse a couple times. When the actor's ready, we take it, we're going to put it up on the screen, and we're going to watch it. And I'm watching it along with you, and we're going to see, does that sync work? And maybe we might want to tweak that performance to say a little angrier, a little sad. Whatever the emotional context is and necessary for that scene, we can now fix that here and take as many takes as we need until we're happy, and then that take gets delivered to the animators. So this is very much fixing it in the mix the right way. So let's show you a small line here, and let's preview this first one. So this first line, we can't really see the script. I don't know if there's an easy way for you guys to maybe just show them the script really quickly. There we go. So this is an example of a script that's here, and each line, you can see are getting progressively harder here. We're going to try a little one here at the top and see how this goes. Let's go and switch it back into the cameras, and let's rehearse this first line. So let's hear how it goes.
What?
Bring it up just a little bit. You'll notice there's a little bit of reaction. Give her that rehearsal one more time.
What?
So you hear there's a really subtle sound there. Okay, so let's go ahead and take one. Let's hear it comes.
What?
And we probably have a little bit of lag on the cameras. Let's do one more.
What?
So we're just a few frames late, so we're seeing a little bit of delay on the big screens here, so that's why it's a little less. Let's go on to the next one, but that's the idea, right? So we're looking at that reaction, and all that facial data is just driving that. So let's go to our next one.
First off, let's take a good look at this photo.
One more for rehearsal.
First off, let's take a good look at this photo.
Okay, and one more for good measure. One more.
First off, let's take a good look at this photo.
Awesome. Hey, Jaynie, do we need a light on her? her? I know it's going to be a little blinding. Is that one already on there? Can we adjust that? It's going to be a little bit too much. Okay, so one of the things you're seeing some shadows on her face here and some other things. So in a studio environment, we actually have more lights on here. So instead of having on markers, we just actually need a non-shadowed face that's there. And all the little micro expressions come through. Let's move on. We don't have a tremendous amount of time here. I know this timer is a little late because we started a little bit late. But let's move down to one of the harder lines, if that's okay. Are you okay, Cherami? Ready to go for a tougher one? Let's show me which ones. Let's go to number, what is that, number 7 there? Number 7.
What? You already planning our next get-together? We decided to do the next one at my club, remember?
Is that one good for you, Cherami? Okay, so let's play it one more time. So we've got a lot of different pauses in here, so take a listen one more time.
What? You already planning our next get-together? We decided to do the next one at my club, remember?
Super challenging for a lot of reasons. She's got a reaction, she's got a hitch, she's got a laugh, she's got a longer hitch, and then obviously all that dialogue. So to read the script and perform and watching where our eye lines are going to be is always going to be fighting. So one of the most challenging parts about this is not only just that lip sync, but it's also the hitches and all the facial animation that's there and memorizing a line. So the reason why being trained in ADR is helpful, because a lot of times you have to flash memorize a line and look for syncing. So this is an extremely challenging line. Cherami makes this look very easy. I can guarantee you'll see this is a very difficult process. So one more for rehearsal, just so she can hear it fresh.
What? You already planning our next get-together? We decided to do the next one at my club, remember?
Amazing. Okay, here we go. This one's for real.
What? You already planning our next get-together? We decided to do the next one at my club, remember?
Amazing. That's fantastic. Very good.
I have to give you extra credit because Cherami has a newborn at home, so she slept like 3 hours in the last 2 hours.
Well, so first of all, we want to thank Cherami so much for coming and showing this off. And one last thing before we let Cherami, maybe Cherami, if you don't mind, just share a couple thoughts from your experience having done a year of this with us.
Oh yeah.
What's your feeling about this process and how did you get used to this?
It's some of my favorite. I started acting when I was 6 on camera, and then same situation as you. I didn't know that was your story, but they said, "Hey, you have a good voice, get in here," and put me on a cassette tape, and then ran the cassette tape, had a run it across town. And so this feels very much like doing on-camera work, which we don't get the opportunity to do a lot of the time for voiceover. For voiceover, usually you'll be doing just the voice, and now you kind of feel like you're being a stunt face, which is kind of fun to get to do. It does feel, dubbing is some of my favorite stuff to get to work on. So this feels like doing dubbing, what I love, but also a little bit of on camera. So it's kind of marrying the two things that you don't get to do together very often.
And when we talk about, like, especially games have a lot of vocal stress and all the characters.
Yeah.
Here you can play different characters, you can do yelling. I mean, you don't have
How
to blow out your
did we
voice.
do in that last session? Like, I was like a young kid, and then you had me doing like an old man, and then like a young woman, and then an older woman. Like, I would never ever get to play those types of characters.
To what play doing this.
But a really interesting challenge is how do you facially change your performance based on the other characters. So just like those animators are listening for a good voice to inspire them to animate, I think as a facial ADR performer, you're also listening to all these different actors and performances and ages and genders and other types of performances and adjusting your facial performance to now deliver a whole new character, even though you're still in the same helmet and all the same kind of environment, but you are now transforming just facially into another character. It's amazing, and the animators love this. It's great for the actors. It's so much better for us. Fidelity is fantastic. And we just go back and just keep rehearsing until we're happy. And you can see how fast We're just running here as a demonstration, so we can go through many, many more lines at a much higher fidelity with Frankenstein edited files that are already in production. So it's saving the production guys because it's already moving faster, it's less expensive and higher quality and a better experience for everybody. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. This is Matt.
So this is Matt. How you doing, Matt?
Our next victim.
Hi.
I call him
I'm good.
Tim.
Hi. So let's put Matt out here and see how flattering this is. It's not as fisheye as it can be. But again, you can see that we have different size helmets usually. We only brought a few here, so apologies that we can't have everyone try these out. But the idea is that we really don't want any movement on the headset. One of the biggest problems you have on a Mocap set is the actors are moving around, doing stunts, doing things, and the head cameras are moving all over. And I'm friends with Sam Worthington, who is the lead character from Avatar. And at one point, when they were running around doing a lot of the stunts and other things on set for Avatar, he literally ran off set, went over to my friend Rob's desk and took out a power drill and started drilling into this like $50,000 headset. And they were like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "My head has to breathe." And they realized that these helmets really have to also be very actor friendly because when you're doing things for the technology, sometimes the performer inside has to suffer. And so anyways, as you've seen over the years that this technology is evolving.
They're way more comfortable now than they were. Originally, the actors, I think, called them the Annies because they felt like they were going to give them brain aneurysms because they were squeezing their heads so hard. Now they're much, much better. That 10 years has made a big difference.
And there's a number of companies that are specializing in doing this. I really do feel that this technology and our process in doing this is going to become more of a pipeline that you're going to see in the future. We're already doing so many projects, not just in the game space, but now film and television are coming to us and saying, this is a great way to get the reference that we need for international and hopefully become the new replacement for dubbing. So let's get into this. So you're going to see some lines here. Sorry if it's too far to see. And we're going to give you a couple of smaller lines here. So let's go ahead and rehearse this first line here and take a listen to it first.
I let my guard down, that's all.
See here, he's kind of running through, there's a comma right there in the script, and we're just going to blow through that, right? So give us one more for rehearsal.
I let my guard down, that's all.
There you go. Okay, cool. All right, let's take it for real. Now again, you guys are seeing a slight delay here. I'm seeing probably about 3 to 5 frames of delay, and that's just because we got cables going all the way to their system and then back up to the projectors and back up. So apologies that it's not perfect sync, but you can kind of get the idea. All right, let's give it a shot. Here it comes.
I let my guard down, that's all.
Nice. And so let's go ahead and exaggerate. So your forehead, you can go a little bit more with your eyebrows there, and let's get a little angrier. Let's see an angrier version of this.
I let my guard down, that's all.
Super cool. Fantastic. Let's pick another line. That's amazing. And the way you can tell if you've done your job right is you should imagine that voice coming out of that face, right? If it works, it works. And that's what's really impressive about this technology is that you are actually replacing that performance. So let's do another one. Let's do one more.
You're not with the media, are you?
All right, some interesting hitches there, right? And again, we're going to see the voice and the face come together. Do my best. Right. Let's hear it one more time first.
You're not with the media, are you?
Right, that hesitant kind of hitch there. Let's give it a shot. Here it comes.
You're not with the media, are you?
Let's go a little bit bigger, a little bit more exaggerated, just a tiny bit more, especially on the mouth.
You're not with the media, are you?
Awesome. Now let's be a little bit more embarrassed, a little bit almost like you were going to laugh, but a nervous laughter to it.
You're not with the media, are you?
Fantastic. Awesome. I think that was you.
It sounded so much like
yeah, Yes,
I think it's
right?
Susie. I think you're right.
That's Susie.
It's Susie.
That's Susie.
Jaynie just saw these lines 1,000 times. Like, that's Susie.
All right, we're going to do one more, and then we're going to bring one more person up on stage here. So let's pick, let's do line 5 if you can find it. Let's see if we got it here.
Actually,
I'm here on business. That should be.
Actually, yeah. Just saw him. Wasn't in a great mood from the look of it.
So you hear that breath in between there? So use that as kind of a way to transform that performance. All right, so here, one more for rehearsal.
Actually, yeah. Just saw him. Wasn't in a great mood from the look of it.
We have a hitch and then a breath. Okay, here it comes.
Actually, yeah. Just saw him. Wasn't in a great mood from the look of it.
A little bigger, a little bigger.
Actually, yeah. Just saw him. Wasn't in a great mood from the look of it.
There it is. Fantastic. So, that's the process.
see it. When it clicks in, you see it, and suddenly you believe it's coming out of,
And that's it. And so between casting and preparation and obviously in a proper studio environment, that's how quickly we're starting to adjust these performances. And you didn't have to worry necessarily about worrying about it. A foreign language that now had to be adapted to fit those mouth flaps. That your animation is now being pasted into that, and that's there. So for us, it's just so much more enjoyable to play here. And we're doing this very quickly, as you can see, but you can see the potential of how well that works. Thank you so much. That's fantastic. So we're going to size up one more helmet. We have one more person. This is our.
The beautiful thing about this, while they're getting everybody switched over, is that as an actor, a lot of times they would have us do facial cap as we were performing. A couple of the Project Jumpstart, which I mentioned very early on, we had these really cute little cartoony characters. And one of my guys, in order to hit the voice of Pierre the Bear, he would stand on his tiptoes, and he would raise his eyebrows to about here to get this little cute voice out, right? And never in a million years would you want to face cap what he had to do to get that voice. Because Pierre's very interesting, right? So it's interesting because as an actor, you don't have to worry about what is my face doing on top of trying to read the line, cold read it, give you 2 takes, worry about the performance, worry about the breathing, the timing, the pacing, everything else, and worrying about what your face is doing at the same time. It would actually kind of squash everyone's performances because you're so worried about what is my face doing that you're kind of forgetting everything else that you have to do. So the nice thing about this is that it fixes that. We can get the exact take, even if you have to raise your eyebrows to here to get that voice out of your head. We get the exact take we want and then go back and dub it over.
And to magnify that problem, now take 6 actors together and a mocap set with 60 to 80 texts on set, and having to do stunts, and having to memorize your eye lines, and having to memorize 15 pages of dialogue.
Hitting all your marks.
Hitting all those marks in a 5-minute scene with no mistakes.
To only get sound quality that is horrendous because it's been recorded in a giant warehouse.
So what happens is in a lot of these bigger mocap sets is we'll have to do it 6, 7, 8, 10, 15 times, and at the end, I guess take 8 was okay. It was the best of them. I'll have to fix it in the mix. And that's what happens constantly. And also, games now are so big. The last game that we're coming off of that we just did this is 100 hours of gameplay. So you have dozens of designers and writers. Now, we're also not talking about a half-hour TV show with 300 lines or 1,500 lines for a movie. The game that this just came off of that we just did was 52,000. Not including base cap, 52,000 lines of dialogue. So we're working at a tremendous volume with high-end visuals, and we have 3 international teams between our mocap, facial animation, our dialogue production, animators, everything else going. So this allows the actor to have a little bit more agency in controlling their performance, giving a performance that's true to what's there, and giving that reference that's there, and letting the voice actors still focus. And a lot of the voice actors are still characters in the game doing both. They're doing facial animation and voice. So it's not like we're eliminating jobs, but we're also opening more opportunities for more actors, in addition to some motion capture or something that might have been done by an international team or on a separate process. So we're just about out of time, so we're going to do one more. This is your Rachel. Okay,
Rachel.
so Rachel, we're going to give you a couple more lines here. Now, the challenge in doing an actual recording here is we might have to have the screens closer and not be able to use glasses for this. We may get reflections on it. You can do it here because we're not going to be submitting this to our animators, so you're welcome to do this. But to knowing about this, certain types of facial animation, you can't have facial hair or glasses or other things. FaceWare's technology is actually pretty forgiving, so we didn't actually have to use any of those markers. We didn't have any actors shaving. I still think glasses probably would be a difficult thing because you are seeing reflections, and that would probably throw off some of the cameras and the markers. But other than that, we can size the scripts and other things, so if actors do have anything that's there. So let's go ahead and take, let's start on line 2, if we can. And we're going to give you a rehearsal here. And again, watch these pauses, and let's look at the emotion for this one.
It's okay. I'll let him know you were looking for him.
So here he's cheating that it's okay at the beginning. One more for that rehearsal.
It's okay. I'll let him know you were looking for him.
And there's a little bit of an emotional change in the middle there. He's actually covering something up there. So a lot of times when we're directing facial animation, it's less of the musicality that we're looking for in the voice, and it's more of the emotional change.
What about listening to that breathing that's going on? Because it's informing you a lot about his emotional state.
So one last time for rehearsal, because I want to hear that bend, that change in the voice.
It's okay. I'll let him know you were looking for him.
So you hear that breath when he comes in? That's like kind of like, I'll take care of it. It's sort of his line right there. So I want to see just a little of that raised brow to that transition. Okay, let's give it a shot.
It's okay. I'll let him know you were looking for him.
Cool. One more time. And a little on the mouth. Bring your mouth in a little bit tighter because you're playing a little bit closer to the best. So one more time.
It's okay. I'll let him know you were looking for him.
Nice. One more like that. And now let's cheese it up a little bit. Let's make it a little obvious that he's lying.
It's okay. I'll let him know you were looking for him.
Nice. Fantastic. Very, very nice. All right. So, unfortunately, that's about as much time as we have today. I'm sorry we don't have more to show you guys, but hopefully this gives you guys a really good introduction to sort of the technology, the opportunities that's there, and just some of the new techniques that a lot of us are working in the game industry to sort of evolve our industry and make it better for all of us. And hopefully you'll see it on the next production. We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you so much. And you know what's really cool? Actually, you guys can join them for a talkback session in the exhibition room, which is really cool. And stay close because we'll be having our next seminar, which is the art of the podcast ad. All right, see you soon.